Hello and welcome along. It's 2025. Do you know what? When I was a wee nipper in the 90s, I can remember sitting there in class, I think it might even be science, and I sat there thinking, God, what will the world be in 2025? Well, I can categorically say it's a bit of a mess. Right, today, I'm going to be shaving with, well, I've shaved with it once, Stirling green, and it is because I've got a bottle of this. And again, that's actually from the 90s. I rediscovered it in one of my drawers like months and months ago, and then trawling through Stirling Soap's gear, Stirling Soap's gear, I come across that. I was a bit like, oh, Stirling green anyway. So when I looked on it, it said, it's probably not quite the same as that, but it's a good match. It is a very good match. And it does feel like it's got a tiny bit sort of stronger after the first use. Nice anyway. Stirling Soaps, man. You know, I cannot speak highly enough of Stirling Soaps. That's my second one. And I love both of them now. They always lather up pretty decent. And the scents are always sort of, well, just really nice. Just really good soaps. Very happy to use them. So, what we've been at, well, I've not been honing much over Christmas. So I had a bit of a razor break, we'd say, like, you know, it was nice actually not to do sort of perpetual honing. Yeah, so I've got back on it a bit. I've got 3 razors in this week that need new edges on them. What is it, like a George Butler Keen razor, as people call them, and that's like one of the half hollow ones, which if you're ever going to get one of them George Butler Keen razors, that's the one to look out for. It's a really good razor. I think it's a number 0, a wedge, and then just a random kind of what I imagine's a Sheffield hollow grind that's just got bland on it. It's a bland razor. Good steel though, good steel. And then one of my razor mates, Mr. Gooner we're calling, he sent me another razor that he needs tightening up. It's one of those German Gotter razors, and then in its pomp it would have been a really good razor. But he's bought it. It's got quite a bit of homeware, but it's still shaved great. And it was just sad that the scales near the pivot got a crack that's going the wrong way. You know, like the wrong way, going across there. And even when I was opening it like that, it was kind of opening up, and I was like, oh man, this is not going to work out. And there is ways you can save it, but it's quite time consuming, and it's like, do you want to spend that much money on a razor that's got a lot of homeware? But it will shave great. Got us great razors, man. They really are one of the best Solingian razors in that type and era and everything. Today as well, I'm going to be shaving with the old Geo Thumper GT2. And I would like to have a little bit of a shout out to my Reddit family as well, because between a lot of us, we've got another person shaving with straights. I think it was either today or I think it might have been yesterday. And he went full bore into it. He bought a razor off of me, shave ready one, and then I dumped like an Urn Crown and Sword razor in it that's got like a fair bit of homeware on it. But it sits lovely on the stones, both sides. Runs its laps lovely, so he can get practicing. And he jumped straight in with a free passer. So I was a bit like, whoa. But fair play to the dude, man. Fair play. Anyway, he really liked it. Fun experience. I think he's definitely going to be back for more. He seems quite determined to get maintaining his razors and everything himself. So I applaud the gent, like, because, you know, it's not the most easiest of transitions, you know, going from whatever shaving you were doing to a straight razor. You know, a lot of people get scared because it's so bloody sharp. And it is, frankly, I think one of the most sharpest things humans have ever managed to create, put an edge on. It's definitely up there. To me, it's sharper than a scalpel, and I've had many a scalpel over the years through various things. Yeah, it's very sharp, very sharp. So it can be a bit scary, but you know, when people ask me about stuff like that, I always say it's very intuitive. Like, and I do really believe that it is, because it's just another tool. Like, and you know, if you're a man that's got like nearly every man on the planet has got a history of using tools. So it's very sort of intuitive, you know what I mean? And I've said it before, you know, I don't believe I am the man I am today. I believe I am the accumulation of hundreds of thousands, if not maybe even millions of years. I don't know, but anyway, you know, we're not just who we are now, we're what we were before. and it's all in our matrix, man. It's all in our electrics, it's in everything. So you've just got to sort of believe in yourself a little bit sometimes and get stuck into things, as I always say. And I've always said that from my dad as well, right? And my granddad. Get stuck in, boy, get stuck in. Right, hang on, let me sort this out because I've been dilly-dallying. Right, today I'm going to be shaving with something. Right, and I want to put a disclaimer on this before I even show you. If I say anything that gets your cob on a bit, it's not because of any opinion of mine. It's just because I don't like cheap trash, and I never have. And again, this comes from my dad and his granddad, but this is a gold dollar. You know, and I know some people have cut their teeth on these, and I do not knock cutting your teeth on these. I do not knock learning how to hone on these, shave on these, or anything. I really don't. Because whatever gets you shaving with straight is good by me. My only issue with them is I don't like cheap tat, and it ain't because it's from China. I've got Chinese friends. I've sold great razors to Chinese people. It's got nothing to do with your ethnicity. It's just I don't like cheap mass-produced tat especially when there's other resources to be had. Meaning there's enough vintage razors out there in the world to keep every man on this planet going for, I don't know, a couple of thousand years. But anyway, so I got this gold dollar and I ain't paid for it. This is Mr. Gooner's as well, by the way. He has lent me this. It started tugging and stuff, so he just said, just have a play with it. So what I've done is I've took it back to a 5000. It's still not perfect, it really ain't, because there's bits of the geometry out of it that are just a bit, and I didn't want to spend too much time on it. I don't like to steal too much, even though it's decent enough, I think. And then I put it onto one of my little Thuringian German water hones, and I did a little video. Yeah, I will post that before I post this, so it will come kind of in sync. But yeah, so I've put an edge on it. It's popping hairs. I struggled to get it popping hairs, but I think it's because it really needs to go back to the 2000, and frankly, I don't want to spend the time on it. I've got better things I want to do with my time. But she's popping hairs. She's meant to be working, so we're going to give it a whirl. I'm going to do a face-off today. I ain't done a face-off for ages, and today I have got this rather splendid other razor. And I don't think it's that fair pitting it against this, because these are possibly, I don't think that's coming out in the terrible light in here today. This is a Bismarck Jr, and if you're on straight razors on Reddit, which I highly recommend, nice, you know, group of people on there. It's not very snooty at all. Everybody sort of almost looks out for everybody a little bit in terms of like, we want good advice and good advice only. Yeah, it's not very snobbish as well, like some of the other places you experience with any other form of hobby or, you know, forum generated stuff we'll call it. But yeah, this is a Bismarck Jr, and it's like, you know, I ain't come across these much, and this is the first one I found. You can't really find much on the internet about them as well. So this is from the era where Bismarcks were in their prime, like, so, you know, not sort of like the more modern ones. I've had like one of the ones from the 90s. I believe it's from the 90s. It could have been a tiny bit earlier. Well, I don't believe it was, but it could have been a tiny bit newer as well. And while the metal was good, it was very different. It really was different from sort of what I'd call more vintage sort of steel. And I'm not saying it was worse or better kind of thing, but it was different. Yeah, I'll show you the other side. Will it stay up? Yeah, it's just about staying up. So I'm going to keep this for a while, because I'm a bit lacking in some of my Solingian, and I put one of my other ones up for sale. So I think, I'll keep this one. And this on the 2000 grit stone was biting my thumbnail just hard. Like, it really is impressive on the 2000 stone. And if you've watched my videos in that, my 2000 Shapton Pro is a really good judge of metal. Once you get your eye into it and everything, it really can tell you a little bit about the razor. Like, it can tell you if it's going to have a bit of a bitty edge. It can tell you if it's going to get really sharp quick. Yeah, and it run the laps lovely. Everything about it has just been lovely, so I thought, well, I'm going to keep that for a while. This week, like I said, I've been honing a few clients' ones. I ain't really got going on the gotter yet. I've got to reclad that in some scales. So that'll be more kind of probably next week. Well, I will start it probably this week, but yeah, I've got to get these other ones out because I did it over Christmas, and I said, you know, it's Christmas, I'm not really doing my businessy kind of stuff. And then I've got a few razors that are mine, so I've got that big crop coming through. that's through to 8. They're all through to 8,000 now. It's got like a really big shank and everything. So I'm excited to shave with that. And then I've got that frame back that I put some really nice like blonde horn scales on it, and I'm really excited to shave with that because it's quite a big. It's an English frame back, but I'll tell you about it more when I shave with it. But anyway, I checked out the maker of it, and it turns out he's of Nordic descent, the person. So it's quite interesting that you know, he was making razors that very much resemble what we'd call a Swedish frame back. Sheffield did make a lot of them as well, I must say, but I think they're more common, let's put it that way, in Sweden. Oh, it's a bit wet, isn't it? Go on with me talking. Yeah, and it turns out his heritage is basically Nordic. The steel's lovely on that, by the way. Really nice. Well, we all had a good Christmas here as well. I think the little one had a good Christmas. Waking us up nearly every day. I think I mentioned this before, saying, well, what are we doing today? God almighty. We're up to things most days, let's put it that way. Yeah, fun Christmas, man. Just lovely when you got a kid kind of her age. It really does bring the magic kind of alive again. Just makes it more fun. As anybody with kids will know, that's what Christmas is all about. A bit of downtime, a bit of recoup, thinking about your plans a little bit for the year maybe. I'm not the one, someone that does all this like January kind of, I don't do none of that, you know, because you're meant to wake up every day and do that really, you know. As you can see, I've got a fair amount of gruff. Right, what one we're going to do first then, lads, eh? Let's do the gold dollar. Let's do it. I'll give it a bit of an advantage. I'll do it with my right hand. I'm only playing. Steel's definitely kind of like okay. And it shaves okay. I can feel like it's not a tugging. Yeah, it's not tugging, but it feels like that could be not irritation either, because that's going a bit too far. But it feels like if I put aftershave on after it, it'd probably feel it a bit more than what I'm just say what I'm used to. But it's leaving like this, you know, leaving no hairs behind. It's comfortable shave. I feel like the edge probably wouldn't last as long as I'm used to as well, if I'm going to be a bit picky. But there you go. You know, whoever had this before me, whoever, because he got this set by somebody else before me, and whoever he got it set by definitely kind of knew what they were at. They put some homeware on it, which I imagine was needed, because it's a very common thing. And you can see, especially on this side, I don't know if you can see it, but the homeware is not sort of what I'd call equal and straight, and that's what you want. But they put like the work in to sort the geometry out. So going forward, like, you know, because the chap who owns this, Mr. Gunnar, I think he is planning on eventually getting stones and that. It's just, you know, it takes a little while to get started, doesn't it? It did for me. It took me, well, took me a while. It took me, God almighty, it took me way over 5 years for me to get to a point of having all my stones where I felt like I was really kind of self-sufficient, if we can call it that. Right, but let's have a go at the Bismarck, man. As soon as I got this, I was like, can't remember what kind of edge I've got on this. I can't remember if I got my new sort of coma edge on it, or my Geo kind of slurry progression on my Jana. I'm not quite sure, can't quite remember. It is on tape somewhere, I know that. Right, I'm just going to do the one pass today. I'm going to go and have my lunch. I don't know if you heard my tummy going. Rrr. But there's not a lot in it. There really isn't, I'm going to be honest. So there we go. Yeah. Both decent shavers, really. You never know, do you? You know, a lot of people moan about them gold dollars, but at the end of the day, if it gets you shaving, it gets you shaving, man. That's the main thing, innit? Another lovely shave with old Stirling green, though. It's my second shave with that. And I feel like I kind of understand the Stirlings now. They act a little bit like the Sealer. Is it Sealer? C-E-L-L-A, like the Italian almond oil based one. You get an aloe vera one, I think you get another one as well, but they act a little bit like that, so they're a bit more thirsty. You can get your water kind of content a little bit sort of wrong the first go around, but you just, you know, as Mr. Dapper Shaves once taught me, you need to add a little bit to your brush, just a little bit at a time, you know, a few drops here, a few drops there, test it, and then you go again. And to the chat, if you see this, like the dude who had his first shave this with his straight, he said his problem area was the chin. Well, it's because you just need to sort your angles out. It takes a little while, you know, your chin's like that. You know, my chin's as wobbly as anything. I've got, you know, like the old butt crack going down the middle, which sometimes I can leave a little tuft in. But yeah, I've got like a wobbly tongue. I haven't got a wobbly tongue. A chin. So that causes a bit of a problem in itself, because sometimes the razor almost wants to jab it, like, and will do that basically. But you'll find it, man. You know, you just find your way. You know, short strokes, long strokes, don't matter, man. You know, a lot of people say start off short, and I'd agree with that. Like, I would, because you've got a bit more control over it. But anyway, I'll leave you at that. Have a good day, man. Do you know what I mean? See you later. Toodaloo.